us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
Welcome everybody, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. It is July 30th, a Monday evening, and we're so happy to have everybody here and joining us for this very special program. We've got, I think, just 2 more live shows, and then we're going to be taking a break in August. So Dr. Dean can take her little rambunctious self and go all over the planet once again for mankind, doing her thing. We're so happy that she ventures out and does these extraordinary outreaches and makes herself available for video production and all kinds of other cool stuff. So we're happy for her to be traveling, but we're a little bit sad we won't be here. But you're going to have great content anyway up until then. I just want to give our regular listeners a heads up. Also, I want to say that in the course of the last couple weeks, one of the things that becomes greatly and exceedingly clear to us as we work with our customer base day in, day out is how truly extraordinary our products are and also our customer service team. I just want to give a shout out to them tonight. They're instant in season and out of season, constantly responding to the thousands of queries we get. The range of topics is extreme, and their knowledge base is incredible. They rely extremely exclusively on Dr. Carolyn Dean's wisdom and all of her publications and information to share with our customers. But they are a glorious extension of what we do here on the radio show and what Dr. Dean's always doing, which is teaching people how to become healthy and vital and alive with the most basic of nutrients. So we want to just give a shout out to them. And of course, this evening you will be joined by Dr. Carolyn Dean, who is a doctor and a naturopath. She has authored so many books. She is a book writer extraordinaire. She has a very unique and crafty way of putting things down on paper in a way that people understand it. She breaks it down. She makes it simple. And she is very precise in her words and how she articulates herself, and so that makes it easy to grasp too. And she's not trying to dazzle people and overwhelm them with her intellect and complexify things. She's just very straightforward and very practical. It's like, this is what you need, and this is why, and this is what you should do. And so we love that about her. Of course, the book that she's most well known for is The Magnesium Miracle. Among many others, Hormone Balance for Women is another incredible book. And, of course, Death by Modern Medicine, her landmark work looking at and examining the death through people, devices and drugs and doctors, the 3 Ds, devices, drugs, doctors, death, decay, decline. I don't know. They're all mixed up in there somewhere. But anyway, Dr. Dean, with her capital D, wades through all of that and makes some suggestions about how you can avoid that trap and take yourself into your own advanced and ascended bliss with her products and also her wisdom. We're so happy she's with us again this evening. Welcome, welcome, Dr. Carolyn Dean. There she is. She's there. There she is.
I'm here.
Are you there?
I'm here.
Hello.
Hey. Yay. I am my own 4-letter word, Jenny. DEAN.
You are.
I am.
We'll have to
I am.
There's an acronym for that. We won't do it today. But
okay.
we'll think of a very good an acronym for that because you are your own 4-letter word. That's very good.
I am. There's no stopping me and there's no stopping you. So we're just forging ahead like a train that will never wreck. Yeah, it's pretty awesome what's going on, and we'll just dive right into today's program. This is not the 1st of August. The first week in August, we will have a guest. Dr. not Frank Sinatra, but Dr. Stephen Sinatra will be our guest next.
No. Stop. No. Remember, Dr. Sinatra's coming on the first Monday. He's coming on September 10th.
Oh.
He's the first Monday after Labor Day, and we won't have a show that day because it's a holiday. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that was it. So what, are we having anyone next Monday?
I believe so. It's a super secret.
Got it. My goodness, I am way behind. I'm spending too much time writing my books to even know what's going on my show. So let me forge ahead with no knowledge of what I'm doing. Okay, so Ginny's blog this week that you got in the mail and that you can find at drcarolyndeanlive.com is about acetaldehyde toxicity. And acetaldehyde is spelled A-C-E-T aldehyde, not ACID, but it sounds like that. And we're talking about it in the summer months because the things that produce acetaldehyde are more common in the summer months. So this is a chemical that the body breaks down with certain enzymes, but if you don't have enough magnesium, you don't break down this acetaldehyde. And it can come from alcohol consumption, cigarettes, smoke and other smoke, smog, vehicle factory exhaust, synthetic fragrances, and the most common of all is yeast overgrowth. So this is where my focus on yeast overgrowth for decades, it kind of culminates in people realizing this acetaldehyde will build up in the body and cause toxicity. And where it's important in this day and age is acetaldehyde toxicity is responsible for disruption of methionine synthase enzyme, which is necessary for proper methylation. So we've heard about methylation, the whole MTHFR business of genetic abnormalities. It's not even a genetic mutation, it's just genetic variation. And this is where yeast is very important. So most people who are listening know about yeast overgrowth. The sugar fermentation in the GI tract produces acetaldehyde and also alcohol. And the typical American diet with drugs and antibiotics is going to kill off good bacteria and allow yeast to overgrow. Low stomach acid is very important, and hang on to that information. Low stomach acid will enhance yeast overgrowth because you don't have stomach acid to kill the viruses, fungus, and bacteria that you ingest or just plain inhale. The other things that produce yeast overgrowth are chronic stress, environmental toxins. They alter gut integrity and immunity. And, of course, the book, Yeast Connection, I updated it, and it's called Reset the Yeast Connection, and it has our yeast detox protocol. The other important thing about yeast overgrowth is if you're drinking beer, wine, or liqueurs, you're producing acetaldehyde, but you're also growing yeast, and it's a double whammy. People who have yeast overgrowth and acetaldehyde tend to have similar symptoms: dizziness, brain fog. I'll get to some of the symptoms in a minute, possibly. Acetaldehyde toxicity can be acute or chronic. You need key nutrients to clear acetaldehyde. Some of the nutrients are cofactors of the enzymes that metabolize acetaldehyde. Those include magnesium, of course, in our REMAG, molybdenum in our REMITE, also sulfur-containing compounds like the taurine and methionine in Realign. They're all necessary to scavenge or mop up the stray unmetabolized acetaldehyde. So there you have a triad: Remag, Remite, and Realign all helping you metabolize acetaldehyde. Now, there's a graphic that came with the email blast that you got today, and I think Ginny's put it on drcarolyndeanlive.com. It's an awesome graphic. You know how a picture's worth 1,000 words. So you've got the triggers for yeast that I've mentioned, and it's just nice to see the 10 or so listed there. And yeast itself creates alcohol. You can get measurable levels of alcohol in the blood, not having drunken any alcohol, but just because of yeast overgrowth. People have failed breathalyzer tests because of yeast overgrowth. And the diuretic effect of alcohol helps you lose more magnesium. You lose zinc as well, and zinc is in Remite. You lose B vitamins, and the B vitamins are in Realign. And this lack of magnesium will make it very difficult for aldehyde dehydrogenase to convert this acid alcohol into actually an acetate in the Krebs cycle. That's getting a little bit too complex. But then what happens metabolically with this acetaldehyde is you get stiff red blood cells, altered hemoglobin that holds less oxygen, so therefore you get short of breath and feel what we call air hunger. You'll get a B1 deficiency, B3 deficiency, B5 deficiency, and you'll lose your bifidobacteria in the gut. So there's a lot going on with just this acetaldehyde. Now, with this methylation business, Dr. Ben Lynch, he's the guy that I kind of critiqued about his saying that our genes are getting mutated and how do you deal with that? Well, I don't believe our genes are getting that mutated, and how you deal with it is with the RNA reset formulas, the completement formulas. So his article, Methylation Inhibited by Candida Toxins, it's very important. It details what I've just talked about, the acetaldehyde link. So that's important to look at, because if this acetaldehyde is affecting so many things and we have to deal with it, and we are already dealing with it by taking the completement formulas. I don't want to read out the article, but if you want to have more information about methylation inhibited by Candida toxins, you look no further. And then for the treatment of yeast overgrowth, go to drcarolyndeanlive.com and click on the yeast book, Reset the Yeast Connection. And in the Reset the Yeast Connection, I have a lot of text there about acetaldehyde toxicity. You'll learn that the headache, sore throat, skin rashes, itchy skin, nausea, muscle pain, joint pain, fatigue, slight fever, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, depression, swollen glands, even vaginal discharge are related to acetaldehyde toxicity and yeast overgrowth and magnesium deficiency. So when you take your magnesium and when you treat your yeast, then you'll reduce your acetaldehyde toxicity to the point where it's non-existent. So there's a lot of text in the book. I've just clipped it all here in my notes, but I'm not going to go into detail. But there's another thing about the thyroid. So many people who approach us, they have hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's. They're suffering from tired adrenal glands, and we factor all that into our treatment protocols because acetaldehyde will block cell membrane receptors, keeping the thyroid hormone T4 from getting into cells to do its work. So what we know about our Remite formula is 9 of the minerals in Remite help to produce thyroid hormones. And just to repeat the enzyme that is supposed to break down acetaldehyde, it's called aldehyde dehydrogenase. What do I have here? Yeah, magnesium is necessary for that enzyme to work properly. Okay, so then we go to, we just have a couple of blog questions, but what I wanted to mention right now, because it relates somewhat to all this. Someone wrote to us, and she said, I was trying to help some people on the Magnesium Advocacy Facebook page. They were complaining that they couldn't take the recommended magnesium water, which is evidently magnesium bicarbonate. I recommended Remag because it doesn't cause intestinal problems that some other forms of magnesium cause. I was told the following by the moderator. There is an issue with the sorbic acid used as a preservative in Remag, as it may build up in the body. Use sparingly if at all. Could you please answer this issue for me? Now you hear the word, it may build up in the body. There's no science behind that statement. So my answer was, heaven forbid, what minutia people get themselves all caught up in. As the label, our label reads, sorbic acid in Remag is not a chemical. It is, well, we don't say that. Sorbic acid is on the label. It's derived from the non-GMO mountain ash tree berry. It's a berry. And it's a very tiny amount necessary to follow FDA GMP requirements. The preservative concentration is 0.04%. Do the math. So 1 teaspoon of Remag is 5 mils. You multiply that by 0.04%. So you're multiplying 5 by 0.0004. You get 0.002 mils, which is equal to 1/100th of a drop. You can inhale and get more toxicity up your nasal membranes in one breath than you could ever get from your Remag. So please do not listen to people who are supposedly just trying to de-recommend Remag. For what reason, I have no idea, and it is highly inappropriate and is actually an incredible disservice to very chronically ill people who can't take any other form of magnesium because of the laxative effect. And they require something like Remag, which was created to be non-laxative. And instead, on this Facebook page, magnesium water is being recommended. Now, magnesium water is magnesium bicarb. It's made with bicarbonate of soda and magnesium hydroxide, or carbonic acid and magnesium hydroxide, a milk of magnesia. So they're making a bicarb, which is an antacid. This bicarb, and admittedly they're trying to alkalize your body, but what you're doing is you're ingesting an antacid every day that neutralizes your stomach acid. And what I said about low stomach acid is it'll cause yeast overgrowth. It will also make it impossible for you to have enough stomach acid to digest your food. You'll start getting gas and bloating and intestinal imbalance. So this whole business of intellectually saying, well, you know, we have to alkalize our body, you can't do it by ingesting alkaline water or alkaline magnesium bicarb. when you take in foods that have an alkaline residue, that's fine. That's digested. That's within the body. The pH of your blood is not going to be affected by taking alkaline waters or magnesium bicarb water. I don't know how much more I can say about that. Your blood, for example, is a pH of 7.4. Your stomach has a pH of 1.5 to 3.5. It is very acidic, and it needs to be that way, actually, to kill foodborne pathogens and to digest protein. So if you're drinking water of any type that's alkaline, the hydrochloric acid has to turn around and neutralize that alkalinity before it goes any further, and keep itself always acidic by actually the use of more magnesium. The more you have to acidify the stomach, the more magnesium you use. I'm going to pull Ginny in right now to see what she has to say about this. And is it true we're getting a lot of questions about the fact that some people seem to be attacking REMAG and not allowing it to be described as the least laxative magnesium? And I know the person who runs the Magnesium Forum, his sponsor is Jigsaw, so that will be the product that's recommended. But as I said, if people have the jigsaw effect that I have, which is the laxative effect, they're not going to be helped. And what happened is when people don't get enough magnesium in the right way by taking a non-laxative magnesium like REMAG, they think magnesium isn't working. They start looking for other things. They start doing their genetics and looking for the MTHFR and looking at everything else and taking tons and tons of supplements in order to deal with something that is still a magnesium deficiency. Over to you, Ginny.
I'm really shocked. I know that because you are on the advisory board of the Nutritional Magnesium Association and stuff, even though you have your own formula and everything, you are pro-magnesium. I mean, that's first. And then secondarily, you have to pay attention to what people can absorb and use and so on and so forth. But I am just grossed out to the maximum of the most epic level that these folks are bashing a formula that has helped tens of thousands of people recover their health in such dramatic fashion. It's totally ill-informed, and it's just absolutely rude and disrespectful. I mean, I don't even know that's just terrible. It just grosses me out. So, right. I mean, we're not a part of it anymore, and, I know that at the very beginning of when it started back in 2012 or something, you could have spent all day on it just answering emails. I mean, people are desperate for accurate information, and, there's a lot of inaccurate information on that forum, and we know we've gotten a lot of people contact us to help them once they've gotten, what's the other thing they do with that crazy, they tell them to drink that bicarb. What's that other stuff? That orange juice?
The adrenal.
Cream of tartar? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, the cream of tartar and orange juice, which are, the orange juice is going to promote yeast overgrowth, and the cream of tartar, it's either infinitesimal amounts of potassium or, people have, anyway, it's inappropriate because you've got non-medical people giving medical advice, and it does keep them away from getting better advice, I guess. So it's anyway, and it does sound like we're gossiping, but when we get direct questions that tell falsehoods about our products, it's just highly inappropriate, like you say. And I have another note here. When I did the math on a toxic dose of sorbic acid, you see sorbic acid can be synthetic. So if someone Googles sorbic acid, synthetic sorbic acid, maybe they could find that for a 200-pound man, if they ate 2 pounds of sorbic acid a day, they might get toxic. I mean, this is the crazy rationale where people will just take a word and find a word allergy, and then they'll drop that word allergy in the midst of a group of thousands of people and scare people off taking something that is good for them. I mean, this person who mentioned this about the sorbic acid, she came around again and gave this list of all the incredible things that she benefited by taking the REMAG. So, and it's interesting because I sound like what allopathic medicine, where they say, well, we can't let these people take alternatives because it'll stop them from taking our good chemotherapy and surgery. So it's like that. We're being stopped from giving people advice about something that's really going to help them. But in the long run, it's people recommending it to their friends and just going in and taking it. You cannot be putting down something that you haven't tried. And as we do all day and every day in customer service, we tell people, yeah, REMAG is bitter tasting because it's a 60,000 parts per million concentrated magnesium, and we never tell you to just drink it straight from the bottle. We will tell you all day and every day to put your quarter teaspoon in a liter of water and sip that, and as your body gets used to it, opening up all your factories in your body, your taste buds will get used to it and actually crave it. So, enough said, Ginny?
Yeah, well, just, enough said. You know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's very sad, and it's harmful. It is harmful, that sort of attitude that people have as if we're competing.
Well, and what's the other thing that what about the cerapulin? What's that thing?
Ceruloplasmin.
There you go. There's information.
Right, and actually, if people want to read my blog on that, they would just Google magnesium citrate, Dr. Carolyn Dean, because they tried to say that magnesium citrate, the natural calm product, was dangerous. So they created this whole thing scaring people from Natural Calm, which is the most highly favored magnesium product in the natural product world. And so Dr. Andrea Rosanoff wrote a rebuttal about that, and I don't know where that stands, but it's just it's kind of fake news the way I see it. And I wrote a blog. I had a back and forth with Morley Robbins about this, and I said this whole business of ceruloplasmin. When you look at magnesium, for example, let me see what I said. So I talked about the magnesium advocacy group putting down magnesium citrate, and I offered Dr. Rosanoff's paper about it for people to get more of the science behind it. Besides the fact that Dr. Rosanoff says there's no evidence for concern about magnesium citrate and ceruloplasmin, my position is that I don't see any upside to scaring people about a magnesium compound that has been used for decades with no side effects. I personally don't use it because it gives me the laxative effect, which is why I created REMAG from magnesium chloride. The problem that Morley sees with ceruloplasmin and copper regulation being in disarray is unfortunately the case for any body process you investigate, because everything in our body is now compromised by environmental toxins, including yeast overgrowth, unhealthy lifestyle, mineral and nutrient deficiencies. Rather than getting hung up on all those various possible problems, I decided to offer the tools to overcome a multitude of problems that we face. And here's where Morley and I agree. All the recommendations that Morley makes in his root cause protocol are covered by my Total Body Reset formulas, gleaned from the information that I've been accumulating for almost 50 years. A few years ago, people started saying to me, stop giving me more to read and study, just tell me what to do. So I went one better and started providing a handful of quality products. Okay, so fine. And then I went through what Morley recommends. You know, he recommends magnesium, but I've got the Remag that's 100% absorbed. He recommends iodine, zinc, and boron. Of course, those are in Remite, so you don't have to buy those separately or face taking too high doses of iodine. And Morley recommends methylated Bs, and of course they're in our Realign, and that's circumvents the MTHFR, SNPS, SNPs, because Realign is helping MTHFR, but Remag is actually healing the problem. The rest of my protocol with the Restructure, along with the RNA drops, is helping heal the gut, and the Recalcia, which is bioavailable if you need it. I know Morley says no to calcium, but that makes no sense. If you can't get calcium in your diet, you can't have just a blanket no. And there's always extenuating circumstances. And then I recommend the cod liver oil and butter oil and blue ice oil. And actually recently, Morley has come out against fermented cod liver oil, which is totally inappropriate again, because fermented cod liver oil has been used probably for centuries as a way of people getting their vitamin A and D. And the vitamin A in the blue ice oil is necessary for ceruloplasmin production, I think, magnesium is helpful in there too, as well as vitamin C, and we recommend the food-based vitamin C. So just on and on and on. And what is very frustrating is Morley says I'm his mentor. He started on the magnesium bandwagon because of me, and then he went off on his own tangents. And if he'd stopped the protocol that I've developed, it's like people can overcome so much of everything just by the protocol, instead of taking a dozen different things and being scared out of their boots at the same time. And it is, it does seem to be someone who just wants to give a lot of information, too much information, instead of just trying to support people in taking responsibility for their health. So there, more gossip for the rumor mill. No, it's not gossip.
Right.
We don't have
Well,
gossip.
it's not gossip. It's an accurate critique of somebody who's not a doctor, running with the staff of people who aren't doctors, and administering a forum that's on a social media site where anybody can get on and say anything, and there's absolutely no screening, and there's no accountability. And so it's dangerous. It's part of what's happening in the Googleverse. This is not the only forum that's operating that way. There are crackpot information being given out on these sports and health nutrition. I've seen it in the keto forums. I've seen it in low-carb forums where people have serious health considerations before they embark on these programs, and they're just being told bad information. So it is really, actually, it's a public service on our part, and that's why I really try to encourage people to call into the show, talk to you directly, and really notice what's happening here, because we have a credible doctor who has years of experience, who has worked with millions of people all over the world and has incredible insights, not just into the physical, but also into the non-physical, the mental, the emotional, everything, and really can put people in a proper position to actually flourish and recover and go and grow and heal. And this is a great resource, and you're willing to show all your references. I mean, you've written medical books where you've got 600 medical references. These guys are writing pages and pages of content with no medical reference whatsoever, making all these ridiculous statements to take this, take that. There's no clinical studies on tartar sauce and orange juice or whatever the heck that crud is. So I do think it's a public service, Carolyn, and I'm, the more I talk to people who are really very confused, they know they can't rely on their doctors. They've been jacked around by their insurance companies. Their families don't believe that they don't feel as well as they don't feel. And they've got a shot to make something good happen for themselves. It just bothers me that they would invest in that forum. It really does.
Yeah, it's the type of desperation that allopathic medicine criticizes alternative medicine for. And, it's just adding to the problem, unfortunately.
Yep. Okay, so we've covered the topic, but yes, I think it's very important people know where you stand with some of these things. Very important.
Right. Let me just a quick one here. Here's another disconnected question. Someone wrote in to us and said, my friend believes she rapidly deteriorated into osteoporosis because she was taking magnesium supplements. After being fine at 55, 5 years later, now that's rapidly, 5 years later, she finds she's in late-stage osteoporosis. When I told her I was taking your Remax supplement, she asked if it had calcium in it. Can you tell me the risk of too much magnesium leaching calcium from my bones? So it's like we're saying, there's so much information out there, people really don't know what they're saying. I mean, this person, both of them need to read the whole magnesium book and understand what's going on. And I did send back a couple of studies about the researchers finally realizing that you can't get calcium directed to the bones properly without magnesium, and that our 30 or 40-year love affair with just taking calcium supplements led to the precipitation of calcium in all areas of the body, including the blood vessels, creating atherosclerosis and heart disease in women. So it's such a big topic, but people will just develop this notion about something, and they're looking to blame. They just want to blame something. It's like not taking responsibility. Anyway. That was another disconnected bit of information that came across our desk, and periodically we'll have a little bit of death by modern medicine discussion here, where we talk about just the inappropriateness of what's going on out there and how people do have to be vigilant. And I do, kind of jokingly say, just do your research, which means reading my stuff. But if you find something inappropriate about, quote, my stuff, you let me know, and I'll either explain it or change it. Like this sorbic acid business, I would never put anything in the products that I have to take every day that's inappropriate or even remotely toxic. And actually, what's on the drawing board, Ginny, I don't know if I kept you up to date on this, but with new FDA rulings, we may be able to take out any preservative in our minerals because our magnesium chloride is such high concentration, it becomes antimicrobial right on its own. So that's cool. People will no longer have a word allergy to sorbic acid.
That's very neat, Carolyn. That's very neat indeed.
Yeah, so we keep working on refining things. We're just as excited as you are to make things as pure as possible.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, listen, we're here live with Dr. Carolyn Dean on AchieveRadio.com, and if you haven't yet had the pleasure of talking with Dr. Dean, she really is such a joy, and we would love for you to call and speak with her about whatever your concerns are this evening regarding what you're doing, what you're accomplishing with your health, your vitality, your well-being. 602-666-6027 is the number to call. That's 602-666-6027. And if you're on the line and you have a question, I need you to push *5 on the keypad of your phone. That's *5. Will raise your hand and let me know that you have a question or comment, and then I'll put you on the line with Dr. Dean. As of now, I don't see any waving hands, which is a clue to people who are on the phone. We see a lot of callers. *5, you've got to raise your hand. The other thing that you can do is you can chat us up on our chat line, and we've got all kinds of ways to communicate with us that way. So we've got some questions from the chat line, and we'll go to those, Carolyn, if you don't mind, and then we'll see who wants to call and chitty-chat with you.
Very good. Dive in.
Okay. All right, dive in. So starting with Timothy, he said, my brother is 3 weeks, quote-unquote, booze-free, has been drinking for many years. What products of yours should he be taking to help keep him sober?
Well, that would be it would be both minerals and the Realign. But also looking at yeast overgrowth, because you know how people go to AA and they switch their booze for sugar? And if you were listening earlier, Timothy, remember I was saying that yeast produces alcohol. So if you're feeding your yeast with sugar, you're producing your own internal alcohol. So you're really not booze-free unless you really cut back on that sugar. So your brother would look at the yeast Reset the Yeast Connection book and just intellectually understand it. Look at what the body does and how you can manipulate your own body. And the B vitamins are very important. Alcohol does destroy the B vitamins. People who get Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome, for example, the brain dementia from alcoholism, that's a B vitamin deficiency in some part, probably mostly. So, and probably more nutrition. Good nutrition keeps people from craving alcohol. So it could be the whole protocol. You can start on the Remag and the Realign, but really investigate yeast overgrowth.
Excellent. Very good. Excellent response. Excellent. Very good. Yeah, a lot of times when you go to, as a pastor, I attended many AA meetings, Carolyn, in my days of ministry, supporting people who were wanting to quit drinking or sustain their sobriety. And, the meetings are just chocked to the gills with sugar. And that's what they really do struggle with is, they've got donuts and candies and cookies and stuff. And of course, if you're maintaining your sobriety, and you're eating a cookie instead, that's always like, yay, and everybody's very excited about that. But like you said, the long-term effects of, sustaining your sobriety through sugar is not optimal. So hopefully Tommy will be able to use that information. It's very beneficial. Barbara said, I suffered from air hunger for years until using the Complement formulas. I've been able to stop the Airway Clear supplement in addition to other supplements. The allopathic doctor recommended an inhaler, which I used briefly and then also stopped that as well. Thank you so much. Aww. Isn't that great? Carolyn, what's air hunger?
Well, it's like I kind of mentioned it. That's one of the acetaldehyde things. When your red blood cells get the membrane gets tough, it's hard for oxygen to go into the cells, and it's oxygen delivered by the red blood cells that gives us our oxygen, allows us air. And so your oxygen is decreased, and your body's always gasping for more oxygen. So it's, it could have been directly the acetaldehyde business.
Ah, very good. Okay, excellent. All right. Melanie in Hawaii has a follow-up question, Carolyn. She says, could you tell me how the adrenal cocktail from the magnesium group is harmful? I've been taking the version without orange juice, which is 1/4 teaspoon sea salt, 1/4 teaspoon food-grade vitamin C, and 3/4 teaspoon cream of tartar. I don't want to be hurting myself. Thank you.
Well, I don't know if it's hurting if you're not doing the orange juice, but look up cream of tartar and look up potassium. And what they say is a teaspoon is 495 milligrams. And how much, I forget how much cream of tartar they recommend in the adrenal formula. Is it a whole teaspoon or a 1/4 of a teaspoon?
3/4 teaspoon cream of tartar is what she's saying.
Okay, so that's like, let's say, 350 milligrams. And what is the potassium RDA? Look that up, RDA potassium. It's 5,000. Oh, where is it? How much potassium is needed daily? 3,500 to 4,700 milligrams per day. So what is 350 milligrams going to do? It's like 1/15 of what the body needs. And partly, and you really don't know what exactly the potassium level is in the cream of tartar you get. But to me, it's like giving your body just a little speck of it, when I'd rather people make the potassium broth, drink the broth, eat the vegetables instead of kind of using a little bit medicinally and thinking you're covered. It's just not. It's not a treatment for potassium deficiency. And the thing about potassium is you can get your blood test and find out if you're deficient in potassium. The way potassium is absorbed in the body is if you have enough magnesium. So again, if you're taking your Remag and getting saturated with your magnesium, then any of the vegetables you eat are going to be absorbed. The potassium in them is going to be absorbed. Look at potato.
Big potato has 1,000 milligrams because that was when I was first did all my electrolyte panel, Carolyn, and my potassium was low, unbeknownst to me. I just ate a potato for a month every night for dinner, and I was done. I mean, it was tedious, but potatoes are really awesome. But let me ask you really quick, why is this beneficial for the adrenals? Do they need potassium? Is that what's going on here? Or why is this adrenal related?
Oh, right.
Because they call it the adrenal cocktail. And I just never understood personally if this formulation of the sugar, the vitamin C, and the potassium, it was actually a recipe for some kind of support that the adrenal glands require.
Well, it's mostly the people say sodium, but we would never just use table salt. We use the sea salt. That's why we have a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt in every liter of drinking water. So it's the salt that the adrenals require, and magnesium. And potassium is in there too, but the point I'm making is get your potassium from your vegetables and stop thinking you have to medicate yourself with a formula. It may be, I may be making more of a philosophical point than a medical point, but I would rather people eat their food and get all their minerals from their food. You can't do that with magnesium, but you can do that with potassium, and you can take your sea salt water. So it's the adrenal cocktail, too much sugar in the orange juice, not enough salt if that's all the salt you're taking. Not enough potassium, and maybe you've been led to believe you're getting enough potassium. So it's just kind of inappropriate, and you're taking it as you would a drug instead of eating your vegetables.
And what's going on with the vitamin C part, too, just so I can understand, because we can clip this out and share it with others who will ask, how is vitamin C related, and just a quarter teaspoon to the adrenal specifically?
Right, yes. Vitamin C actually is very important for the adrenals. And I guess the research on the adrenals and ascorbic acid, I think the ascorbic acid people, the orthomolecular medical people, say you need a couple thousand milligrams of ascorbic acid to support the adrenals. I've always promoted food-based vitamin C, and a quarter teaspoon, who knows how much vitamin C is in there, but food-based vitamin C is a complex vitamin C, of which there are 8 compounds in vitamin C complex, not just ascorbic acid. But I think there is enough research to support that ascorbic acid is going to support your adrenal glands, although the magnesium advocacy people say that ascorbic acid is bad. So I don't know, the court is out on that point, and I'm going to keep researching it to try to get some truth to it. But in the meantime, we are telling people to take 250, 500 milligrams of a food-based vitamin C a day. The fruit, there's a problem with fruit, as you all know. With yeast overgrowth, you can only have a certain amount of fruit. With the ketogenic diet, you can only have a certain amount of the carbohydrate, sugary fruit. So you do need to take some extra ascorbic acid. But it's, you see, what it is people will chop up the body into different organs and say, well, this is what you need for your adrenals, and you should take all this stuff, and then turn around, oh, this is what you need for your thyroid. What's her name? The pharmacist who's made herself the thyroid expert. She chops, Isabella Wentz, she chops up the body into 12 different areas that you have to look at and deal with and study in order to overcome your Hashimoto's thyroiditis or your hypothyroidism. And all we're saying is all these organs, they work together. If your thyroid is low, it'll pull on your adrenals and vice versa, and your sex hormones. So I'm just saying support everything all at once, and as one organ kind of boosts up, it'll support the other organ. And if there are inflammations and infections and your immune system is kind of beleaguered because of yeast overgrowth and Epstein-Barr, then take the Pico Silver. And we've got everyone drumming into the project here. The medium who says your chronic fatigue, oh, that's Epstein-Barr. I mean, we knew that 30 years ago. And you don't just focus on treating the Epstein-Barr. You deal with the whole body. But this is what specialism is. People have their specialties, and they say you have to treat things one at a time. We even hear that with people saying, well, you have to treat your adrenal glands first, or is it you have to treat your thyroid first? I mean, that's, you support the body on all levels is what you do.
Very good. Excellent. Okay. I think that's a very comprehensive breakdown. Very good. Melanie, great question. Thank you for asking. It caused us to go into more detail, and that was very good. Okay. Let's get one more question, and I think before the top of the hour, we do have a caller holding, but I don't want to get started I see you, Raleigh, North Carolina. Just hang in there for a second, and we'll go over the top of the hour and bring you right on at the beginning of the second hour, okay? So just hang in there for a minute. And let's do this question from May. Can an intense month of a long colon cleanse deplete minerals, including magnesium? Do you think coffee is a good idea? It seems like Remag are making my leg cramps worse. Do you think I could be detoxing too fast?
Yes, with colon cleansing, I don't know if she means a coffee enemas when she mentions coffee, but people who do 2 and 3 coffee enemas a day, I'm sure they can get into mineral depletion. People who do saunas every day can get into mineral depletion. People who do intravenous chelation, whether it's DMPS or EDTA or DMSA, you can pull out your minerals with all those things. And then when you start, I don't know, May, when the cramp started, but when you start to take Remag and it stirs things up and wakens up your nerves and your muscles, you can get cramping in the beginning of replacing your minerals. So, yes, intense anything is really not a good idea. I've been trying to write blogs about that and warn people about when you turn 50, all of a sudden you decide, well, I'm going to do CrossFit or I'm going to do hot yoga until I get better. And how many times have we heard people who've done that, sweated out all their minerals, gotten heart palpitations, and ended up with atrial fibrillation ablation because they just don't have enough magnesium to support their heart rhythm.
Very good. Yep, very good. All right. At the top of the hour, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Hour 2 of Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com.
We'll be back with Hour 2 of Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean, along with host Ginny Gunther, after this brief station break. You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is AchieveRadio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
You can climb floors and then worlds show up. You can go downstairs and worlds disappear. You can go downstairs up on the rooftop and you open the door and take a step and you go, I'm on the rooftop. Wait a minute, I better pay attention. So that becomes a fun thing. So that's why we have to come back and say this, relax and allow. Soften it up, get your foot off the gas, don't slam on the brakes, just let it coast where you want it to go. Soften, be easy about all this, and stop making a great big huge thing out of great big nothingnesses, because the nothingnesses are serving you very well. You like this blissful place of not caring, because now you care so much about everything that you've got yourself in a position where you don't really care about anything. Good, it's wonderful. Thank you. We are happily, easily ready for more in your experience.
AchieveRadio.com. Here we go now. Go to the Carolyn. Here we go now. Here we go now. The Wellness Scene with Dr. D. Here we go now.
Welcome back, everybody, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here in AchieveRadio.com. Thank you so much for joining us again this evening. We're happy to have Dr. Carolyn Dean with us, as well as all of our listeners and our callers. A robust and wonderful conversation taking place here, all about natural health, vitality, well-being, and about using your body and your own wisdom to vet out what's the best course of action for you. We've got all kinds of great things yet to experience in this hour, so we're glad you're back with us. Let's go to our phones. Carolyn, welcome back. And let's go to our phones and see who wants to chitty-chat with you. How's that sound?
Okay, Oaks. I'm ready.
Okay. Let's go to the great state of North Carolina, and we'll go to area code 919. You're on the line with Dr. Jean. Jean, hello?
Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Yes, this is Judy Shinkman calling. I had a couple, three questions. I'm brand new on the products, and so I'm just getting my feet wet. And I started with my RBC test. Now my test showed was a 6.2. I know it's pretty good, but I'm having definite signs of magnesium deficiency, including AFib, including muscle cramps at night, et cetera. So I'm wondering, and I read somewhere that people can have pretty high magnesium readings on RBC as well as the exact test, but still be magnesium deficient. Is that your understanding?
Right. Yes, it is, Judy, because it's not a highly accurate test. I mean, I don't know if you were taking some magnesium the night before the test. Some labs will even say you should not take magnesium for days before the test, but we can't tell people to do that because I wouldn't be able to do that. My heart palpitations would come back in 2 days. So we have to realize that the test is not as accurate as an ionized magnesium test. It's a guide. And if you're guided by it, that's fine. But thankfully, you're going to go by your clinical symptoms. And so what you do is just start the products very slowly. So that's question one. Go ahead, Judy.
Okay.
What else have you got for me?
So question two, I have been taking Prilosec for quite a while now. Triple Prilosec, because it does help my AFib in some kind of funny way. Let's not get into that. But what I want to know is will the oral Remag, be blocked by the Prilosec, or will it get through?
Well, it'll get through, but the thing about Prilosec that's even the FDA agree. Yeah, it's a magnesium killer, and
I'm trying to get off as fast as I can.
It will take a bit. And what I can get Ginny or Melody Rose to do is you can give them your email address at support@rnareset.com to get the excerpt from my Future Health Now encyclopedia on digestion and on using, and you probably already know it, Judy, using the DGL licorice instead of the heartburn drugs. And
it hasn't been very effective for me. I've tried it, but I think I'm going to try to use it when I'm getting further off of it.
Right, and what it is magnesium is necessary to help the hydrochloric acid in the stomach, and magnesium is necessary to relax the esophageal sphincter that can go into spasm and cause the heartburn. And all these things, as you're starting to do the products, will help help heal and sustain the body so that you don't have to have this symptom. So email in, like I said. They'll give you the digestion thing, because it's possible that you have a mini hiatus hernia even that you can learn to massage so that things don't pop up. Like what happens sometimes due to magnesium deficiency, you can have a spasm of your diaphragm, and the diaphragm then can pull away from your esophagus and not hold the esophagus in place. And when that happens, you just have a superhighway up to your throat from your stomach. So there are many.
I just had an endoscopy, so I think I'm probably okay there, but I hear you.
Right. There are things to look at, and maybe even a chiropractor to go to. And I don't know so much about the psychology of what heartburn means, but it could mean that on a certain level there's a conflict where it's like, so-and-so makes me sick to my stomach, or I don't swallow what you're telling me. So there are things to look at in that regard. So there's a lot to experiment with. So, and just go slow. We tell people, do not just come right off your meds, and I know you won't do that. You've already expressed that. So just go slow, and as your body heals, you'll probably be able to wean off.
Okay. And do you have time for a couple more questions?
Sure, they're good questions, but I noticed I didn't really say, will oral Remag be blocked? It'll be blocked in a sense, but it's almost like you need more magnesium to deal with what the Prilosec is doing to your magnesium. So it's not like you're going to be wasting it. The way the Remag works and the way it jumps right into the cells, it might not be as effective by Prilosec as other magnesiums. That's some research that should be done down the line. But yes, go ahead with your next question. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm thinking about doing it more transdermally, at least half transdermally, with the lotion. Will that still be affected by the Prilosec?
Not as much, I would think, but because what happens with the Prilosec is it goes through the liver, it'll be broken down, and it'll be the body will try to get rid of it. So transdermal could slow down the effect Prilosec has on the magnesium. That's a very good idea.
Right. That's what I'm trying to do. I kind of overdid the lotion, but it told me right away I needed to back off. So speaking of transdermally, can I put the Remite into a solution with the Remag and spray? There's two ways to do it transdermally. One is the lotion, but I also read that you can spray the Remag on. Sure. We have people doing both. Some people experiment with the Remite and spraying it around the thyroid. We can just say people do that. Personally, I have done that, but because our label of the liquid doesn't say transdermal, we're not able to recommend that to you. Okay. But if I sprayed it on, if I took that responsibility, would it absorb into my body?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well then, I will do that. Okay. Then the Realign drops. I did not start those. Is it okay to start them after I have been on the products? I've been for about 10 days now.
Oh, yes. And you're talking about the RNA drops. So, yes, anytime.
Isn't it called Realign?
The Realign is the capsules, Judy, and the RNA is the little droppers. Okay?
I meant the capsules, the Realign capsules. Can I start those even?
Oh, right. Yes, you can start that anytime. We tried to set up a protocol, and because we don't know how
Right.
toxic people are, so we thought, well, start with the Realign and detoxify and get your Bs. But there's no problem with the way you're going to do it at all.
I already have methylate. I definitely have the MTH
FR.
gene. I do have that gene.
Well,
I know that
let me just say this, Judy. 80% of people have it. So this business about I have it. It's like everybody has it. So it's It's nothing special, Judy.
Oh,
okay.
Good. I don't want to be special in that way.
So, and what you're telling me is you're already on a methylated B.
Yes, I am already. Do I need the Realign drops if I'm already on a methylated?
What you do is just finish up that one, and then you can move to ours because it also has the sulfur-based amino acids that precursors to glutathione, and also supports the sulfation pathways in the liver. So the Realign becomes like an all-purpose detoxifier and methylator and sulfator. Okay?
Gotcha. That's great. And at what point do I introduce the Recalcia?
Only if you're not taking enough calcium in your diet, and it may not be for months and months and months.
Well, I just got diagnosed at crossing the line from osteopenia to osteoporosis, so something's not right.
Right.
So,
well, do you have any indication of low calcium? Like, is it low in your blood, or do you get, for example,
no.
my low
I just had all my blood work done.
Right. Sorry, we're talking over each other. For example, my low calcium notification is knee pain, and when I was playing with my Remag and Remite, I did not take any calcium for maybe a year and a half. So then when I started getting knee pain, which I recalled from experimenting with intravenous chelation, after a couple of chelations, I developed knee pain. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm stripping my calcium. And now that I'm doing the ketogenic diet with lots of heavy whipping cream and cheese, I don't need Recalcia anymore. And I know I should be telling everybody, oh yeah, buy the Recalcia, but that's not the point. We're not just trying to sell Recalcia. We just have it as a product in case people can't take any dairy and aren't getting their calcium, to be able to get at least 600 milligrams of calcium a day, rather than the RDA that's 2 and 3 times as much.
Are the blood tests of calcium pretty accurate as opposed to? Okay.
Yeah,
so
they are ionized. The calcium blood tests are ionized calcium, which we pray we'll be able to get ionized magnesium. So the calcium tests ionized calcium is very accurate.
Good. I did, like I said, my blood work. I just had a full physical, and my blood work was all in the positive category.
You have AFib and muscle cramps, so I know, it's pretty funny.
So it's definitely a magnesium issue, and I'm just so excited to have found your products. I've been fighting with magnesium and diarrhea for years and years and years.
Right.
And so I'm just thrilled, and I have to hold back from overdoing it because I'm so eager to start. I understand that it can take months to really get over the deficiency in your body, and I've got some years to make up for, and I'm dying to get rid of this AFib.
Yes. But just watch your words, Judy. You said, I'm dying to get rid of the AFib. Don't use that word.
All right. I'm eager.
Yes, eager. And the other thing then, in terms of the bones, about the whole vitamin D business, that's where we recommend the Blue Ice Royal so that you can get your vitamin D and a food base, and the vitamin K2. It's magnesium and vitamin K2 that take your calcium into your bones and pull it out of your wherever it's been hiding all these years, okay?
I see. That's very helpful to know.
Right, right. And that information, that's the customer service gives it out all the time, but the blog is Dr. Dean Supplement Recommendations. And you can get an overview of everything I take, everything I've researched. This is all you need, just a handful of things, and then we're all happy and can go to the beach, okay?
Now, going back to your vitamin K and your Blue Ice, they have put me on a blood thinner because of the
AFib, yeah.
AFib.
Yeah.
Is that vitamin K, is that going to be a problem with blood thinner?
Oh,
your
good
Blue
point. I don't believe so, but what's is it the warfarin blood thinner?
No, thank gosh, no. It's
no. It's only warfarin that you have to worry about in K2.
All right.
Okay.
That's good. Then I'll definitely
See, Judy,
do that. Well,
you know too much. You know too much.
Well, little knowledge can be a dangerous thing.
I know, and that's why you phoned in, and it's awesome, and I appreciate you phoning in. Great questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Excellent. Yes, very good questions. Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. Let's go to the great state of California, area code 310. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
My name is Paul Baumgarten.
Hi, Paul.
Hi. Ketogenic diet, when I heard you say cheese and whipping cream, oh, God, my nose completely opened. I just got off of several months ago attempting the John McDougall diet because I got all wound up with, I don't have to explain, right? I did it for about a year and a half. I just kept losing more and more weight. I'm about 6'2", got down to about 142 pounds.
Oh.
And, just was feeling weaker and weaker and craving protein. So, but I really bought the, vegan, business. And some people, I guess, do okay on it, but this body just does not.
Right.
And,
it's interesting. It's interesting you bring that up, Paul. Let me interject.
Sure.
My foster daughter, she was raw food vegan. Oh gosh, 20 years. She brought her kids up on it. She's a real rebel, and she said, I'll rebel by homeschooling my kids and eating raw. And she's just recently just bit the bullet and said, I can't recommend this anymore. It hasn't been healthy for me. I'm reading in my community from people who are having such a horrible time with not having enough protein. And that's been my experience with people over the years, friends of mine who tried to be vegans. The women all, I shouldn't say all, but a lot of women had premature menopause. They had a lot of problems with their teeth because they just weren't able to, their gums were deteriorating for lack of protein. I'm kind of vaguely generalizing, but I just don't think it's an appropriate diet. There are no vegan, vegetarian cultures in the world that have survived in a healthy way, and it may Shannon is wondering if this is propaganda that has been promoting vegan and vegetarianism, and I know, people may get after me about this, but I always attributed the different diets to blood group, for example. I'm an O blood group, so I need animal protein. I thought, well, maybe A's can do vegan, vegetarian, maybe B's and AB's. But when you look at the statistics of diet preference, only 4% of North Americans are vegan, vegetarian. 4%. So if it was on the basis of blood types and people gravitated to what they felt most healthy on, wouldn't you think there'd be more vegan vegetarians in the world? So those are some words. What do you think, Paul?
Well, I also had, sounds good to me, I also had bleeding gums and lots of gum recession. And, I think some bone loss as well. In my mouth. And but anyway, when I resumed, my body felt much better, stronger, and so forth. But specifically, I've had severe leg cramping for years and years, and I started on your products about a year ago. But I realized I think the reason it's still going on is because I'm not taking enough. When I really looked at how much I've been taking, I've just been taking a teaspoon of Remag a day.
Right.
And that's just, I should be up to at least 2 teaspoons, I'm thinking.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
Or maybe more.
One, it may be more. I had to take 4 teaspoons, and I'm only like 105-7 pounds. I had to take 4 teaspoons for about a year, and then as I built up and I took my Remite and the sea salt in the water did it all, I went back to 3 and then 2, and now I waver between 1 and 1.5. The more cheese and heavy whipping cream I eat with all that calcium, I need a little more magnesium.
Okay,
but yes,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, so on the whipping cream, does it have to be raw, or can it be pasteurized? It's just that raw is so expensive. I mean, they want $14 for a pint.
Right. I try to get organic, but what's happened in my world, Paul, is because with the RNA drops and all the products, I just feel invincible, and I really don't sweat the small stuff. I really do not. And
I'm on the RNA drops as well, and the Remite and the Calcia. But from all of the years, I took so much calcium. When I did a hair analysis some years ago, my calcium was just completely high off the charts.
Yes. Wow.
So when I muscle test myself these days, I do that a lot. I've just been getting that I only need or should be taking at this juncture about no more than about half a teaspoon of Recalcia a day. Does that sound way low to you?
No, it doesn't. When I was talking to Judy, I mentioned that for years I took no calcium at all and was avoiding dairy products. So what happens is we do build up calcium in areas where we shouldn't have them. I mean, I have a ear deafness condition that surgery has corrected, but it's autosclerosis where the bones of my inner ears got calcified. I'm a walking calcification. So that's where that and my magnesium deficiency worked against me. So I didn't feel any deprivation from avoiding calcium all those years until I got my knee pain. And now what I'm doing with the ketogenic diet, I'm using low or non-lactose cheese so that I don't eat lactose, which will grow my yeast. And let me look up the lactose content of heavy whipping cream, because I eat these things and I don't get mucus, which is sort of a giveaway of yeast. So you can perhaps you could look at that. Do you know your blood type, Paul?
I did the. I've basically been doing the O diet with the exception of when I tried the vegan for quite a few years. I'm 70 these days. So
you sound 20.
Oh. Well, bless you.
Well, I sound 20. I sound 22, and I'm near 70. So
yeah, you don't. Your voice sounds quite young and strong, indeed.
Thank you.
So, is there a particular specific ketogenic diet that you'd recommend?
You can read my book on it. I have a free ebook. What's it called? Reset Your Ideal Weight, and don't look at it as weight loss, please. What you do with the keto diet is just eat more, and it's high in fats. The avocados and olives.
I don't do well on avocados. I have a problem. Yeah, I have a problem digesting them. I don't know what. And I take a really good digestive.
Okay. Well, you know what? What maybe has happened, I don't know how long the digestion's been a problem, but it may be a factor of your previous diet. So pick out the Reset the Yeast Connection book, too, because you may have, as most people do, an imbalance of your intestinal flora. So you may have to work on that as well. But just... like you said, Paul, more of the minerals so that it's more therapeutic rather than just maintenance, because you've been maintaining yourself in not so good a place, basically.
Okay. Well, that's very, very helpful. Sure. Well, I could keep you on forever, but you've been quite generous as it is, so thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. It's wonderful speaking to you. I like your speaking voice, but I can say that because Bob is not a jealous partner.
Good for you. Oh, what about fermented foods, like fermenting my oatmeal?
I've never thought about that, but a little fermentation and slowly build up, and it would be a good idea for your intestines, that's for sure. But Paul, you don't have to get fanatic. This is a point in life where you don't have to do a diet like McDougall or whatever and just be a fanatic. This is where you're just going to kind of get the theoretical positive information that I'm trying to give in my books, and just do your muscle testing certainly if you like, but just go easy. The worst is over, okay? Just go easy. Relax and allow. That's what the RNA drops will do for you, is help you relax into this. And I know you've got your...
that.
Yes. And, phone up our folks. You can talk to Melody Rose or Ginny or, Pam or Doug or any of our wonderful people and just get reinforced that you don't have to be a fanatic about this. You can get well by default with our products and our information, or you can engage as much as you like. But you've already wasted enough of your life on trying to fix it. That's the impression I'm getting. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, no question about it, and spent a fortune doing it. So how many more years do you think it will be on the increased Remag before these cramps will abate? Do you have any idea?
Oh, gosh. Oh, it's not years at all. If you can go up to 3 teaspoons of the liquid a day and or the Remag lotion to get 900 milligrams. The Remag lotion, the recipe is 200 milligrams per teaspoon. If you can go up there, I mean, gosh, your cramps really are just waiting to resolve by getting enough. Okay?
Oh, that's good news. That's good news. Thank you so much. God bless.
God bless, Paul. Thank you for calling.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Give Paul a yay.
Yes,
give
I was
Paul
just
a yay.
going to say, what a lovely gentleman. Oh, we love Paul. We love Paul. That's very sweet. Thank you, Paul. What a lovely man. Yes, gosh.
Yeah.
Isn't that just the worst to have to struggle and strain and everything with all this stuff? I mean, Ion really is right just to make it easy, relax and allow. And, I was listening to an old session the other night where Ion was pointing out that a lot of people who have Alzheimer's, their bodies heal perfectly and they live for millions of years because the mind, which is our worst enemy, forgets that there's anything wrong. And the body just instantly responds. And so all the things that they may enter into their dementia with, like diabetes and stuff, it just all goes away.
Right.
So, the key is to maintain that never mind kind of balance while still having your faculties, and enjoying your body and trusting that it's going to be well. So let's hope that we're keeping our fingers crossed for Paul. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, yes. He'll be great. He'll do just great. And just to finish up on the heavy whipping cream has about 3% lactose. So how much lactose, lactose in milk? Let's see what that is. Because, as I said, the heavy whipping cream, it kind of soothes my stomach and makes me feel so full.
Oh, yeah.
And I cut it up with frozen berries, kind of low-carb berries. I kind of overdo it a little bit, but... well, gosh, yes. When I was staying with Ginny the last time, I said, Ginny, we don't have enough heavy whipping cream. Every time we went out, I made her go and buy more whipping cream. By the end of the time I was there, I think we had 5 quarts of it. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. Somebody kept hiding it on me. So lactose in milk, I can't find it. So what are we going to do next?
Okay, well, let's run through some of these questions. We've got a follow-up question from Melanie. Do you recommend Epsom salt baths a couple of times a week, perhaps with essential oils instead of infrared saunas, so that we are not depleting our minerals whilst on your protocol?
I don't know if it's one or the other. I am experimenting with saunas now. When our young friend from North Carolina was over here doing the farm project with me, we got into doing a lot of saunas, or he was doing them at the spa. So I thought, maybe I should try. But it's interesting. I think I've noticed a little uptick in my heart jumping every once in a while. So it is pulling out my minerals.
Yeah.
The saunas, it really does. So you really have to keep on top of it. And if you want to detox, Epsom salts baths are probably a better way to go than the infrared saunas. But then the saunas, the heat shock of the sauna is creating certain things in the body, and I emphasize the word shock because I'm sort of careful of recommending anything that's shocking because we have such a population of folks who've been through so much. You don't want to shock them with anything, and an Epsom salts bath is nothing other than relaxing, and you're absorbing your magnesium. And there's the detox aspect too. I certainly still recommend the Envirometrica clay baths. You put about a third of a cup of this clay powder in a whole quart of water and spin it up, and you create this clay muck that you put in your bath. So you can do clay to help draw out toxins. You can put some vinegar in there, apple cider vinegar. You can put baking soda, or is it baking powder? Baking soda. There's all kinds of ways. But then, is that getting into the minutia of you identifying yourself as, oh, I'm so toxic, I have to do all these things? No. Do these things if they make you feel better. And, I love my occasional bath. I love doing my coffee enema. I just create this whole world in my bathroom where I enjoy being up there doing a facial. So make it about pleasure rather than duty. Right, Ginny?
I agree. Yes, definitely. Make it about pleasure and not about absolutely driving the toxins from your body, all that harsh. That's too harsh.
Yeah.
Too harsh.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And Realign is the best little detoxer.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes,
it is. It really is. It's the sweetest little product in the world.
Yeah, we have the Realign as our gentle detox, and that slipped my mind. You don't have to force a detox. You just by default take your Realign, and this stuff is working when you can have a couple of alcoholic beverages and take a couple of Realign in the same evening, and you don't get drunk. Your blood alcohol level doesn't go up. Your head is still clear. I guess, I feel a little of the taste and a little of the wooziness of alcohol, but you can do that, and then you don't wake up with hangover. So that's how powerful Realign can be for your liver.
Yeah, it's really very special. Okay, let's see. Barb Litchfield is typing in, is the fermented cod liver oil something we all should be taking? What good does it do?
Oh, yes. It is part of what people are looking at in terms of, well, what do I do for vitamin D? And, yes, the vitamin A helps produce your ceruloplasmin. And, yes, the vitamin K2 directs the calcium to your bones. So it's a good overall supplement to take. I think everybody needs to take it, and we kind of identified it over the years, and we do carry it in our store now to make it accessible and available. Definitely.
Yeah, very good. Excellent. All right, and then also let's see. Rena just typed in, I just read about the super thick RNA drops. Sorry, I just dropped in here, so I didn't hear the answer if this was addressed already. How do you use them when they are really thick?
Ginny, can you answer that question?
Sure, yeah. The best way all you have to do is really thin them out. It's no big deal. Every generation of the RNA drops is different, and so some of them are a little more thin than the other, and that just depends on, it depends on the moon phase. That's how that works. And what you do is you just use a really nice spring water. Don't use distilled water. Don't use tap water. Just put a nice little spring water, and maybe get your dropper from your Remag, or a little dropper you have, and just put 5 or 6 drops in your bottle and shake it up, and that should be perfect. That's all you have to do. But there's nothing wrong with them. They're purely delightful, and like I said, it's just a generation to generation kind of thing. Ed types in, please review silver usage and protocol. I must have missed the sheet with the order. Thank you so much.
Okay. Do you, let me look at the silver label. What do we tell people?
Well, what we're saying to people in customer service is that anecdotally, this is not on our label, but anecdotally what we are harvesting from our customers who are great about letting us know what's going on with them is it seems like if you're taking it on an empty stomach first thing in the morning, that has a big boost. So we're saying, take it on an empty stomach first thing in the morning, a teaspoon, and then, throughout the day, if you decide to take more, you would want to try to take it away from food at least 15 minutes. And you can take it directly by the capful into your mouth, and it does not have a strong taste at all, or you can dilute it in 2 to 4 ounces of water. And then you're just looking at, just like all of our other stuff, are you doing a health maintenance, or are you doing some kind of a more aggressive kind of response thing? So depending on the depth of support you feel you need in your immune system, then you would adjust your dose accordingly, and you can take it up to 8 times in one day. And some people are deciding to stay on it for 2 weeks at a time and then take off a week, or 3 weeks at a time and take off a week. And they're playing around with that and just doing what feels good in their body. And also they're noticing different responses. Now, I talked to a gal this weekend who told me that in the state that she lives in, the mold counts are very high because there's a lot of humidity there. And in the summertime, she really gets a lot of bloating and swelling and almost allergic reactions to her environment because of these molds and all these other kind of spores and allergens that are in the air. And she is actually not having that experience right now. She's actually seeing a major reduction in that, and because she's using the silver this year. So there's a lot of just, great testimonials and anecdotal information that's coming through. So that's what we're saying. And then what you can do is you can just let us know how you end up using it and what it ends up doing for you, because we're always interested in that.
Right. And at the Dr. Carolyn Dean Live, we have a paper, a third-party silver report that came to us that you can download. So where is that situated now, Ginny?
It's still on there. All they have to do is just type in silver. If they go to the top of the search bar up, it's just type in the word silver, and the thing will pop right up. Feasibility study of silver dihydrogen. It's right there.
And they're talking about something called a nano silver. It looks like it's exactly like the pico silver, stabilized ion of silver, and it is remarkable what silver can do for people. I just thought our chemists should make our silver because we could make it a little stronger and a little less expensive than the one I've been recommending. And lo and behold, we started having incredible results. I got rid of airplane cold in 12 hours, and my yeast seems to be even under more control. And Bob will be happy to tell you that his bowel movements no longer have an odor. I haven't figured out what that's all about. But anything in the body where the immune system is negligent or derelict and not helping you with inflammation or infection is going to be supported by silver. And what I've been saying is in Chinese medicine, when I was studying Chinese medicine, we learned that there are what's called divergent meridians, actual meridians in the body that will push infections away from the organs out into the joints. So we've had innumerable people say, oh, my shoulder joints are so much better, my elbows are so much better, et cetera, where people have had these low grade infections or just plain inflammation at these sites. So it's anything is possible, it seems, with the whole combination. It's like people are on all the products, and then they add Pico Silver, and boom, they go to the next level. It's quite awesome.
Very good. Excellent. Okay, let's see. Rena, I answered your question, but just for the archives, yes, spring water would be water that comes from a mineral spring versus a distilled water or purified water where all the minerals have been stripped out. And we just say that because we want to have the best water to go in the drops. So I think that, and I typed that in for you into the chat line too as an answer. Sandy in Castle Rock, Washington, Carolyn, she wants to know, can you advise whether there is any natural nutritional supplement for gastroparesis secondary to type 1 diabetes?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Gastroparesis is kind of like with the stomach gets the paralyzed is not the word, but it's almost like that's the feeling where things don't move through the stomach. I haven't really come across anything. What I would say is the magnesium will help the stomach muscles be a little more active. Here it is. Gastroparesis is a condition that affects the normal, spontaneous movement of the muscles in your stomach. And yes, if it's secondary to diabetes, magnesium is very important for diabetes. So what we'll be doing is watching to see, Sandy, what's working for you. Now, Sandy's a regular customer, isn't she?
I believe so, yes.
If it's
not
Sandy,
our
we
Sandy,
know.
not our, no.
Oh, it's
this
not.
Is Castle Rock, yeah, Castle Rock, Washington.
Castle Rock. Well, you'll have to let us know how much you're taking, because to support the muscles of the stomach and make them work more appropriately, you might be needing therapeutic doses of Remag, the 2 and 3 teaspoons a day. And I would look at kind of massaging the stomach down and to the right as if it were a minor hiatus hernia. I have hiatal hernia. I think we have an FAQ with looking at YouTubes that massage a hiatus hernia. Castor oil packs on the stomach might help drain the lymphatics around the stomach. But yes, I would like a quick fix for gastroparesis, but treat your diabetes with the formulas and keep us posted, Sandy.
Very good. Excellent. Okay, let's see. Cheryl typed in, is beta-glucan a yeast and to be avoided if one has candida?
No, beta-glucan is a therapeutic yeast. Or is it a yeast, or just, let me look it up. Beta-glucan beta-glucan yeast. It's kind of like a Saccharomyces. I don't think it's bad for candida. So what you do is look up beta-glucan and yeast overgrowth or candida and see what comes up. And I don't see any negatives.
Very
but
good.
Why would you take it? I mean, what do you need beta-glucan for? That's my question when people ask us about, well, can I take L-cysteine or what, lipoic acid?
NaCl or whatever, yeah.
NaCl, yeah. I said, well, why? Why? Okay.
I think also don't beta-glucans come from yeast? I mean, not yeast, oats and things like that.
Yeah, I haven't looked them up lately, but
because we used to test to see if they were in the drops because they come from oats and barley. We don't have a high concentration of beta-glucans in the drops. But at one point they were tested for that.
Right, beta-glucan, a type of dietary fiber found in abundance in oats. Interesting. Been recognized as having blood cholesterol lowering properties. So, well, what's the point of that? Because cholesterol is not the cause of heart disease. If cholesterol is elevated, it means you need antioxidants such as found in Remag and Reline. So there.
Exactly. Yay! Okay, very good. Let's see. How are we doing with everything? Oh, Marv typed in and said, hello to our doctor family. Good news. My cousin, who is visiting, that I told you about last week, was listening with me. His swollen knee is so much better. He is overly astonished. That's a good word. Overly astonished. He cannot believe within less than 1 week he is going up and down the stairs and feeling good. He just can't believe that 1 teaspoon per day in water and sipping along has him feeling this great. So that's really, really awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
And on 1 teaspoon a day, well, Marv,
right.
yeah, he may have to increase it. So, and it's not a drug. He's replacing what his body requires. So, let's hope he keeps on it.
Very good.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
Now, Sandy in Castle Rock, Washington, typed back in while we were talking, and she said, I've been on Remag and Remite for a couple months and started taking the Restructure a month ago. Will this help with gastroparesis? So I think, Sandy, that Carolyn answered your question by talking about the different aspects of that and what you might be able to expect. But if you're still unclear, shoot an email to support, SUPPORT, at rnareset.com and remind us of this conversation. We could provide you with some more information. I mean, we have to be careful because we don't want to make it sound like we're treating a condition. We're just recommending that, you know, these building blocks are essential for the body. And also, as Carolyn always says, if you have a chronic condition like this, your entire body is stressed out. You know, because it's all the energy in your body is balancing itself out against this one chronic area to try to maintain equilibrium in your whole being. And that level of stress is a real magnesium depleter and a mineral depleter. So foundationally, every single person in the whole wide world should be using our formulas anyway, just on principle, because everybody's so stressed out right now. But if you add the additional stress of what you've got going on in your body, then yes, you will benefit. It is going to help. Is it going to help with that particular condition right this second? We don't know. But it's going to help your body for sure, for sure. Correct, Carolyn?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we cannot isolate any of the body parts and say, well, I'm going to take this for that. We're just doing everything for everything. And that's what really works. And yeah, some people might say, well, that's not scientific. What's really helping? Well, we just know, and I've been doing this for 50 years, we know what the body needs and requires and wants and loves, and we're just giving you that whole package, and it's a small package. So you're taking half a dozen things that work, and that's it. And then you're off to the beach.
Yeah, it's very, very elegant, Sandy. So hang in there, and goodness gracious, you know, we know both Carolyn and I at times in our life have been saddled with different, you know, things that feel very debilitating, overwhelming, isolating. Sometimes you feel very lonely. You know, you're cut off from your family and these kinds of things. But hang in there. You know, like Carolyn always says, the worst is over, and you will be on the road to recovery, and we just have to figure out exactly how to get you there. But there's all kinds of support for you as well, okay? And videos, you know, watch Carolyn's webinars because they're very, very inspiring too. Lots of testimonials and good stuff. You'll see. Stacy types in, Carolyn, I'm currently taking the RNA dropped, Dr. Carolyn's Magnesium and Remite, 2 teaspoons of Remag, a half teaspoon of Remite, 6 drops of RNA 2 times. I am suffering from night sweats and insomnia. What would Dr. Dean suggest I would do? I am 54 years old.
You increase your products because the Remite that wants to support your thyroid and your adrenals and your sex hormones, it's much better at 1.5 teaspoons. Remag, I personally would be putting it up to 3 teaspoons, and it's the duration. It's to be taking them long enough to saturate your body. The RNA drops, you'll go up to 10 drops twice a day. The B vitamins in the Realign are going to be important as well. So just keep at it. You're not at therapeutic doses.
Very good. And then Tamara typed in, what do you think about taking trace mineral drops in water? The brand is Concentrace. I have not yet started taking the Remag program yet.
Well, Concentrates, I guess I used to take that. I used to put it in my water for minerals, and then I I don't know if I even felt anything with it. They're not ionized like the Remag and Remite, and I just felt that with the Remite ionized minerals, 100% absorbed, along with the trace minerals in sea salt in water, I feel that covers everything. So that's what I would recommend.
Very good. Excellent. Now, Barbara typed in and said, just quick testimonial and then a word from Margaret Lee, and then we're going to have to wrap up the show for this week. Barbara said, I no longer have chronic urinary tract infections since using Pico Silver a few days at a time. So, Barbara, that is very inspiring. Shoot me an email.
God.
Let me know what you're doing. If you're taking it on an empty stomach in the morning, how much you're taking, that kind of thing. Just let me know so we can put you in our archives. Again, that's support, SUPPORT, at RNAreset.com. And then
now let me just say about the,
yep.
hang on, the chronic urinary tract infections puts people on chronic antibiotics. So Barbara, look at our Reset the Yeast connection, so that you get over what the antibiotics have possibly done. I've known people on chronic antibiotics for chronic urinary tract infection for years, so that would be incredible, boosting the immune system that way. Okay, Margaret.
Okay. Bill just went for his 6-week eye checkup for the macular degeneration, and the doctor noted he had less moisture again than the last time, but of course he gave him a shot in the eye. I realized a while ago that we had been taking too little Remag, so now he's back up at a therapeutic dose, 3 1/4 teaspoon. So I'm wondering if the Remag is helping that moisturization. Plus, we've been on the silver since the end of June. Are there testimonials for silver improving eye issues? I feel that the silver on its own is a great yeast detox just from Bill's improvements. Thank you so much. So grateful for you, Carolyn. 40 seconds.
Right. Yeah, what's Margaret asking? If she's saying his eyes are drier?
No,
and
more moist, even though he still got a shot, but his eyes were more moist. So they lowered the Remag, now they're back on. She's thinking increasing the dose. Do you think that's having a moisturizing effect on his eyes?
Well, it's a hydrator. Yeah, magnesium is definitely a hydrator, so it's quite possible.
Okay, excellent. Margaret, love you. Thank you, everybody, for participating tonight. It was wonderful, vibrant, lively conversations, and really, really fun. So thank you, everybody. We'll be back next week with our special guest and, of course, our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, listeners.
Thank you, everybody.
Till next time, so long. Thanks for all the fish.
AchieveRadio.com.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is AchieveRadio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AchieveRadio.
You were saying that all those things that you interact with were also a creation. And we say yes, but they had to be spoken.